I'm just amazed at the number of musicians who don't know A, how to tune their instruments, and B, what their instrument sounds like. You know, I'm really impressed when I see horn players, saxophones, guys working on his reed, and he'll walk over and he'll blow into the wall so that you can hear what his horn sounds like because he's behind it. Trumpets. Sorry, Herb. Same way. I mean, they're that the sound's going that way. Drummers, they're behind their drums. They're behind their drums. They're not standing, where the audience is standing, or where somebody's standing 10 or 15 feet away. Pianos, it's the same thing, It's like, but with drummers, I don't know, I mean, ride cymbals were always up here, and they were played with the wrist, ding, 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 ding. Maybe it's the music doesn't need that anymore, but they have a ride. These guys come in and they say that's a ride cymbal, and they play it like it's a crash cymbal. They're playing a ride pattern, but they're playing it like it's a crash, and and the cymbals are down really low, so it makes it really, short of going in and cleaning out the tracks and building gates in the computer, you just really have to. You just really have to put up with a lot of that stuff in live. When you're doing records, now they got sound replacer. You don't need to worry about any of that stuff, which is another pet peeve of mine. But we won't go into that right now. Sound replacer and auto tune. Auto tune live is really dicey because you got so much other stuff coming in that vocal mic. Now it's not just tuning the voice, it's tuning the guitar or whatever. So it's like anything else. They're all tools. Pro Tools is a tool. The problem for me is that you got what all this technology has done is it has made it possible for some basic mediocre talent to make a lot of records that have sold. But when it comes to coming out and playing them live and performing, they really can't do that. They can. You've got sound replacer. You've got auto tune. When you should be able to sing in tune. When I started in the record business, you didn't have any of that stuff, and you had to be able to do it. Now it's like, that's good for feel, just tune me up, and they're gone. And the engineer's sitting in there tuning, for a day, tuning a vocal. And you hear that, I hear it, it's and it's just unnatural. I had one of my Nuendo friends. He told me a story about there was a hip hop band. He didn't tell me who, but they sampled Earth, Wind and Fire's "Shining Star," and they were trying to loop it, and they couldn't loop it because it's kind of had this little speed up and slow down, and they wanted it right on the beat. So they've got software now that does that. But "Shining Star" was a really big hit record, and all that business, all this up and down, that's the feel. That's the stuff that makes you want to get up and move, where, everything is just so measured and so perfect and, and in tune, and it's just, I don't know, it's just, I really feel that's one of the reasons why the music business is suffering so much, is because the technology has made it possible for anybody to make a record now, and for not very much money, and recording studios are going down the tubes. You've got engineers coming out of universities now, and engineers coming out of private schools. They spent, it's a college education. They spend a couple $100,000. And when they come out, there's no place to go to work because there's no studios anymore, And and they don't have the opportunity that I had of actually being there and watching these guys work, and just picking up this little trick and that little trick, and that's not. I mean, what a. I mean, to stand behind these guys and watch them work. That's how I learned. I learned from watching. I learned from experimentation. I learned from making mistakes. But basically, I was just lucky because I got to work in that environment. And now so much of it is, it's all, you got all the rules. There's a lot of rules. In school they teach you a lot of rules. And I read something by Bruce Swedien where he basically said, there's only, and I assume he said this. It was a quote. There's only one rule in audio, and that's there are no rules. It's like you can. I mean, if somebody came into this room and looked at the way I do things, they take away my music mixing license because I just, you know, I just fly by the seat of my pants. I got a pretty good understanding of the fundamentals, but I do a lot of things that would make my partner, who's an engineer and a very technical person and a wonderful mixer, great ears. He comes in and he just wants to pull his hair out because of what I do. And sometimes if I need more gain, I just go in and get the gain. If I need if when I'm doing here, when I'm doing it live, I don't have time to use a scalpel to go in and just take out some little thing that's annoying me. I'll use a hatchet if I have to, just to get it under control. And if I had more time, then I can get in there and I can massage it a little bit more. But basically, this is guerrilla television. You hear it 2 or 3 times, and then you're on the air and it's done. And it's to me, the measure of success is how quickly you can get it back together again, and hold it there. And to do that, you need a lot of help from the musicians.